Today is January 13th, 2025. The time is 6:04 p.m. and we are going to start the meeting. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. We have a student that was supposed to do it and do some inspiration. He is running late, so we're going to adjust our agenda because we invited him to come and we are all about students, so we want him to be able to be heard. So at this time, if you will join me, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, before we get into our agenda, I want to do the roll call, starting with District 1, Ms. Jasmine Bowles.
Present.
District 2, Mr. Mark Christmas. And I'm going to let everyone know Mr. Christmas isn't here this evening because he had a death in his family and couldn't make it. District 3, Jesse Goree, that's me. District 4, Miss Victoria Williams. District 5, Dr. Dee Haney.
Present.
District 6, Miss Mary Baker.
Present.
District 7, Miss Sabrina Hill.
Present.
District 8, Miss Joy Taylor Scooper. District 9, Mr. Benjamin Straker.
Present.
Superintendent, Dr. Anthony Smith.
Present.
Attorney, Mr. Clem Doyle.
Present.
Board Liaison, Ms. Kim Blackwood.
Here.
Administrative Assistant to the Superintendent and Board, Ms. Arlicia Battle. All right, the Administrative Assistant to the Deputy Superintendent and Chief of Staff, Ms. Don Blau. All right, before we move on, I want to acknowledge a few things this evening. First of all, I want us to start with taking a moment of silence. We want to honor one of our employees that we lost, the administrative assistant at MD Roberts and K Pace, Ms. Barbara Price. And of course, we already probably did this last week. Moment of silence for those individuals. And excuse me, also for Mr. Christmas's family. Keep them in prayer. Thank you. Now, I want to acknowledge some other things. First of all, we want to acknowledge some of our board members and part of our board family who recently had a birthday. Miss Mary Baker's birthday was May. Woo, January 3rd, as well as Dr. Hendricks. They are birthday twins. So we want to say happy birthday, belated birthday. Also, our very own attorney, Mr. Clem Doyle's birthday was yesterday, so we want to acknowledge him. All right, it's a special day for me today as well. Today is January 13th, and I'm gonna take a moment of privilege and have all of those divas, devastating divas from Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated to please stand up and acknowledge our 112th Founders Day. Now, in January, we have D9 organizations, and I want to go back and acknowledge those others. On January 5th, we have the members of Kappa Alpha Psi. Are you in the house? All right. Okay. January 9th, Phi Beta Sigma. Okay, I see somebody over there. Okay, as I said, January 13th, which is the day Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, and on January the 15th, in just a couple more days, those wonderful sisters of ours, the ladies of Alpha, Kappa, Alpha, Sorority Incorporated. Come on, let me hear you. Okay, oh, they're not gonna say anything. All right. All right. Because we have two ladies up here, Dee Haney, Dr. D, and Miss Bowles. All right. And then on the 16th, we will have those other sisters, the D9 sisters from Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated on the 16th. All right. I think I've acknowledged everyone. At this time, we're going to go on with our agenda, and we are going to start with our election of our board officers. And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Smith. And I'm having a real nice smile on my face because it's going to be a great night for Miss Goree.
Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board, community, at this time, we will conduct elections of our board chair and vice chair positions. At this time, I will open the floor for the board members to make recommendations for the position of board chair. I see Ms. Goree.
Yes. All right. At this
We'll
time,
start with Ms. Goree and move on.
all right. At this time, I want to nominate Mr. Benjamin Straker as the chair of the Clayton County Board of Education.
Thank you, Ms. Goree. Are there any other recommendations?
Ms. Baker's slide.
Ms. Baker?
Oh, well, you don't have to second. Okay.
Okay, any other recommendations for the position of board chair?
Mr. Williams.
Ms. Williams?
I nominate Sabrina Hill.
Okay. All right. Okay, any other recommendations? Is that it? All right.
So let them know the two people are Ms. Hill and
So we have two recommendations for the position of chair, Mr. Benjamin Straker and Ms. Sabrina Hill. So at this time, I would ask, well, first we have to have a second.
no.
You've already, okay.
No.
Well, at this time, we'll ask the board members to render a vote for their selection for board chairperson for Mr. Straker.
Okay.
And then we'll move on to a vote for Ms. Hill. Six.
All right.
Mr. Dahl, it appears that we have six individuals voting to cast their vote for Mr. Straker. Is it necessary to conduct the, okay?
You
Well,
can.
it seems as if Mr. Straker has the majority of the vote, six of the nine voting members. I would imagine that congratulations
Yes.
are in order for Mr. Benjamin Straker, who is now our new board chairperson for Clayton
Yes.
County Public Schools.
Yes.
Mr. Straker, if you don't mind, we'll move to the position of vice chair, and then we'll give you an opportunity to make a remark or two, if you don't mind.
I didn't hear you.
Okay.
Can you repeat that?
We'll move on.
I was saying, once we do the elections for vice chair,
Right, go ahead.
we give you an opportunity to make some remarks as the new chairperson. Okay. All right. Any recommendations for the position for vice chairperson? It appears that Mrs. Goree lights on. Ms. Goree, do you have a recommendation?
Yes, I would like to nominate Miss Mary Baker to be the vice chair.
All right. Any other recommendations? We have Mrs. Mary Baker being recommended by Ms. Jessie Goree. Any other recommendations for vice chair?
So,
Ms. Bowles?
I would like to nominate Ms. Sabrina Hill for vice chair, please.
Okay. All right. We have Ms. Mary Baker and Ms. Sabrina Hill as the two individuals that have been recommended by the board members. Any other recommendations? Any other recommendations? Okay, well, at this time, we will start with the voting, and we'll start with Mrs. Mary Baker. Board members, the floor is open for you to vote for, at this time, Mrs. Baker, and we'll move to Mrs. Hill. Mr. Doyle, it appears that the majority of the board members have voted for Mrs. Baker. so thereby not having a need to vote for Mrs. Hill. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, well, the board has had voted 5-4 for Mrs. Mary Baker. Congratulations, Mrs. Baker, on being voted in by your colleagues as the vice chairperson for the Clayton County Board of Education. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That concludes the officer elections.
Since I have been relieved of my duties, as I said, this is a great night. I am going to pass the gavel to my colleague here, Mr. Benjamin Straker. As I told him, he couldn't have mine because it has my name on it. So I'm going to pass the gavel. Congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Gorey. First and foremost, I want to express my gratitude to my board members for having the faith for me to lead Clayton County Public Schools on. I got to take a second out, and I have to say, if you guys would help me acknowledge the individual that's leaving this seat. That individual has been committed, dedicated, and diligent about Clayton County Public Schools business. We have large shoes to fill, and I thank her for her support. And secretly, one of these days, I'll tell everybody, you can't imagine the fighting that we had prior to this. But at the end of the day, she's sitting right next to me and she supported me. So if you can get on your feet and give her a huge hand for the work that she's done.
Yeah, we weren't speaking last night.
Yeah. Let Mary say something. And then we're going to do 5 minutes.
I just want to say thank you to my colleagues. Yes, I have the position of vice chair, but we know that we all work together for the betterment of our students and our staff and our district. So I would ask that as we start this new year with many, many changes, that you keep us all in prayer, whether it be our students, our staff, your board, our administration. Please do keep us all in prayer that we make the right decision. So thank you.
Okay, guys. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have the young man, Judah Whaley, come up, give his inspirational speech. We then will take a 5-minute recess so that we could rearrange everything here, and then we'll go forward with our agenda. Mr. Whaley, are you in the house?
Before Judah comes, Dr. Smith also just notified us of something else. We also lost Marvin Hill, a teacher at Church Street. So let's take a moment to acknowledge Mr. Hill, teacher at Church Street. We just lost him. Thank you. You have the floor, Judah.
Thank you.
Take it over there. Okay.
All right, so if my voice is a bit shaky, you're gonna have to forgive me. I just got back from swim practice at Jonesboro High School. The late great philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "Write it on your heart that every day is the best day of the year." And when hearing this quote, it led me to think that it's important for us to not only envision our future aspirations, possibilities, and endeavors, but it's also important for us to embody these endeavors. If a 19th century thinker can see the world in this light, what's stopping us from doing the very same? So I say to you, make the most out of every day, hour, minute, and second you have in this universe. Because if you don't, you'll be weighed down by every pound and ounce of your past. Do not become a prisoner in your own fortress of mental solitude, but simply allow yourself to flourish within your 2025 aptitude. Additionally, I'd like to add that every last one of us should walk out of this room carrying an audience of love, because only love will carry us forward in the perfect light to raise this community to what it should be. Recognizing potential is, of course, full of dreams, but it's also full of action. And each and every one of you as civic leaders, even if you're just a mere citizen, of course, you are still a leader. It is our job to walk forward in love and in action. We are responsible for every person in this room and every person outside of this room. And yes, I know we all love Clayton County, but it's up to us to make an impact on this world. And in 2025, we all have the perfect opportunity to do so. I'm but a student coming before you, trying to inspire you. It is up to you to take that action and move forward and do what you can for yourself, for your family, and for your world. So I want to leave you again with this quote. Write it on your heart that every day is the best day of the year. Be better than who you were yesterday and keep living with that dream in your mind, because those dreams do lead to actions. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'll be playing the role of Charles White tonight. So, huh? A little deeper. Okay, I can't get that deep. I'm sorry. Okay. For our first board recognition, could we have Dr. Keith Colbert, Mr. Derek Manning, Dr. Prince Bowie, Mr. Gary Townsend, and Ms. Brenda Ross Wilson come to the front, please?
Doesn't want me to say who? I'm not saying names for everybody. I'm not saying any names. Just the one. Okay. Clayton County Public Schools proudly honors the Martha Ellen Stillwell School of the Arts for an outstanding accomplishment. In November, at the Georgia High School Association Class A Division II one-act play state competition, the Stillwell production of the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee brought home to the school its first ever one-act play state championship. In addition, Jefferson Hall and Olivia Warner were both honored with the All-Star Actor Award, and Aiden Egarugwu took home the prestigious award of Best Actor. We extend our heartfelt congratulations to the entire cast, crew, and faculty who made this win possible. Are the students here? Okay, students, you may come forward at this time. I don't have the names. Okay. Okay, I'm going to pass the mic to each one of you, and I want you to say your name really clearly and concisely.
Hello, my name is Alyssa Griffin. Hello, I am the director, Miss Ozuna.
Hi, my name is Austin Mahaffey. Hello, my name is Sire Charles.
Hello, I am Oluwaseun Sophia Seboijo.
Hello, my name is Jefferson Hall II.
Hello, my name is Shalisa Pinnell.
Hello, my name is Salon Fedrick.
Hello, my name is Mackenzie Porterfield.
My granddaughter.
Hello, my name is Ashley Vickerson. Hi, my name is Victoria Warner. Hello, my name is Olivia Warner. Hello, I am Kari Holston. Hello, my name is Sabria Sim.
Hello, I am Sarah Ralph.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aiden Egarugu.
Hello, my name is Malik Price.
Thank you. Let's give them another round of applause. For our next group, we would like Dr. Ralph Simpson, Dr. Keith Colbert, Mr. Lonnie Farmer, Mr. Gary Townsend, and Dr. Shakira Cheney to come forward. Okay. The North Clayton Middle School football team is honored tonight for winning its third consecutive district championship. We congratulate, repeat, woo! We want to congratulate head football coach Corey Washington and his staff and the members of the Amazing Tigers on this accomplishment. Can the students come in now? Okay, fellas, y'all might be a little shyer than the drama group, but y'all gonna have to say your names, okay? And just pass the mic down. Okay.
Hey, everybody doing? My name is Kobe Reed.
My name is Kaden Lewis.
My name is Elijah Hughes.
My name is Ethan Hughes.
My name is Mason Kennedy.
My name Jaden Miller.
My name Joshua Graves.
My name Braylon Reynolds.
My name Nathaniel Rainwater.
My name Blake Cudger.
My name Jalen St. Germain.
My name Tremaine Hunter.
My name Devon Finlater.
I'm Coach Washington, Corey Washington. I'm Coach Tyler Penny.
And I'm Coach Bettis.
Thank you all. Now let's get a picture. Oh, did we miss? Oh, any parents that are here, you can come up as well, please. Oh, stand up. I'm sorry, I did misunderstood. All parents of these young men, please stand up. Oh, we got one in the back. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Got some over here. Awesome. All right.
That's my nephew.
Yes.
Chance.
For our next recognition, we need Dr. Delphia Young, Dr. Keith Colbert, Mr. Derek Manning, Dr. Prince Bowie,
Yeah, no.
Ms. Anna Cox, and Ms. Tanisha Bailey, please.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. Let's see.
That's my nephew. My brother's grandson.
And Tanisha. Are Ms. Bailey and Ms. Cox here? Okay.
No, that's not him. Tell him that he keeps bringing him around. That's okay. It's okay. Mm-hmm. Claude D. Jermaine, that's his name.
That's okay. Clayton County Public Schools is excited to announce that a work of art by Miss Keisha Glenn, a sophomore at Jonesboro High School, has earned first place among all high school entries in the regional Arabic art competition sponsored by Arabic Teachers Council of the South. The competition was held recently in celebration of Arabic Language Day. We also recognize Mr. Allah Hadib, the lead Arabic teacher in the World Language Department at Jonesboro High School, for his guidance and support of Miss Glenn in this competition. Miss Glenn received a Certificate of Excellence and a $100 gift card from the Arabic Teachers Council of the South for her accomplishments. Is Miss Glenn here? Congratulations. For our next recognition, we would like Dr. Douglas Hendricks Sr., Dr. Keith Colbert, Dr. Shanice Radcliffe, and Miss Alicia Albritton to come forward, please. Clayton County Public Schools proudly highlights a special milestone in celebrating two of our own recognized in the Georgia Leadership Institute for School Improvement, GLISSE, their fifth annual Hidden Heroes campaign. Last month, GLISSE representatives visited the district to honor Dr. Ave Tatum, Human Resource Director, and Ms. Marcia Payton, Principal of Michelle Obama STEM Elementary Academy, with their official Hidden Heroes checks. The presentation marked a significant moment, celebrating their remarkable achievements and contributions to education. Selected from 130 nominations statewide and nearly 42,000 votes cast, Dr. Tatum and Ms. Payton stood out for their dedication, leadership, and commitment to excellence. As regional winners, they will receive cash prizes and will be honored at the Georgia Chamber's esteemed Eggs and Issues breakfast on January 14th, 2025. Will Dr. Tatum and Ms. Payton come forward? Dr. Hendricks. Dr. Hendricks, stay put, please. Now we need Dr. Delphia Young, Dr. Keith Colbert, and also Miss Alicia Albritton. GENERATE is an acronym for Georgia Educators Networking to Revolutionize and Transform Education grant. Mercer University's GENERATE Teacher Residency Program provides a path for career changers to obtain Masters of Arts in Teaching, the MAT degrees, to become certified teachers in Georgia and teach in high-need content areas within partner school districts. This program provides individuals with professional development, mentoring, professional learning communities, and computer science and cybersecurity training. The total awarded value of the grant was $9.6 million, and it is funded by the United States Department of Education. The grant pays full tuition and fees, and participants receive a $500 stipend each semester, and educators earn a computer science endorsement through the program. Mercer expanded the program to include the opportunity to earn bachelor degrees, birth through kindergarten initial teacher certification, and a special education ages 3 through 5 endorsement for paraprofessionals and support personnel with 60 or more credit hours towards an education degree. These participants also have full tuition and fees paid, receive the $500 stipend per semester, attend the annual summit, and participate in professional development and professional learning communities. The final extension of this premier partnership with Mercer University allowed funds from the Generate grant to be used for partial payment for Tier 1 and Tier 2 educational leadership candidates. Clayton County Public Schools paid the remaining portion of the tuition cost. Participants included teachers, district-level staff, and assistant principals. Tonight, we recognize the first cohort of 13 MAT graduates, 17 Tier 1 educational leadership graduates, and 12 Tier 2 educational leadership graduates. These educators were individually celebrated at a reception earlier this afternoon and will now come forward in groups to be formally recognized by the CCPS Board of Education. Will the MAT graduates come forward, please? Do you want to get a picture with just this group and then we'll get it with the other groups? Okay, if y'all will move to the middle kind of, and we'll do a picture with you guys and then the next group, since there are so many of you. Yeah, this. Okay, I'll call them. Can the Mercer reps come forward as well? I will be recognizing you in a minute. If you would come forward too, and then that way you can be in all the pictures. Okay, Mercer reps, please stay. The MAT candidates can go be seated. The next group we want to come up, there you go, are the Tier 1 educational leadership graduates. Thank you. Now, as the Tier 1 group is seated, we will have the Tier 2 educational leadership graduates come forward. It should be noted that 100% of the Tier 2 leadership cohort well, yeah, don't mind me. Okay, and while they are arranging for their picture, it should also be noted that 100% of this group passed the ETS performance assessment for school leaders on their very first attempt, all while planning and successfully hosting Mercer's 2024 Leadership Academy, Generating a Legacy of Leaders. Let's give them another round of applause. Mercer representatives, please remain. Congratulations, everyone. I wanted to recognize Mercer University's partnership with CCPS in making this amazing opportunity possible for our employees. So if you guys will just raise your hand as I call your name. Ms. Lolita Sarton, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs and Strategic Engagement, and Principal Investigator for the Generate Grant. Dr. Cynthia Anderson, she's the Generate Grant Director. Dr. Novella Jean Walker, Program Director for Tier 1 and 2 Leadership. Ms. Shannon Mitchell, Director of Assessment. And we also have to mention that our district's Division of HR and Strategic Improvement received a 2024 Best in Class Gold Award in the Strategic Partnerships category for their entry that highlighted the partnership between Clayton County Public Schools, CCPS, and Mercer University Tift College of Education. Will those HR, come on. Y'all come up and get in the picture too. Thank you. This concludes our board recognition.
Cute. I got it bad though.
All right, well, we're gonna spend 5 minutes just rearranging. When we get back, we'll speed through the agenda.
Dr. Haney. Where'd she go? At this time, we're going to have our drawing for the You've Been Noticed. So as soon as Dr. Haney gets, Dr. Haney, can you come out and draw for us, please?
Good evening, everyone. Chair, Mr. Straker, Vice Chair, Ms. Baker, members of the board, Dr. Smith. On this evening, before we began to draw for our You've Been Noticed, earlier in this academic school year, we had some members of our community. They came to a meeting to voice wanting to be part of our solution here in Clayton County Public Schools. And so we met with them and we came up with the SAFE program. That is sitting at the feet of our elders. And this is where our seasoned Clayton County residents have now become the grandparent at every elementary school in Clayton County. And so this evening, we have some volunteers here with us this evening. Will you please stand? Again, we have some of our SAFE volunteers. Thank you so very much. And again, they are coming wanting to be part of the solution. And every elementary school has a SAFE volunteer. So we just wanted to introduce some of them tonight. Thank you. Now we have our You've Been Noticed. The last two pulls resulted in a mortgage being paid for the last two people. So we're very excited about this possibility, Dr. Dee Haney.
Chief Walker, you.
And we have Miss Kenethia Henderson, nominated by Miss Trina Smith, one of our DES departments, for her unwavering support, always running to train, support, share, and help, and even when not even asked, to support all new teachers and all staff. You are an amazing employee. You are awesome. Thank you so much, Miss Smith. We will go see Miss Henderson tomorrow.
Yep, we are. 5 minutes. I've already told them. Good deal. You got it. I'm gonna be here all night for you, all night. Matter of fact, I'm gonna call your name. You be my first name. You watch the agenda. Just so we can get out of it. 'Cause I'm in a ton of trouble. Uh-huh. Yeah, we're gonna go on the, okay, cool. What we got? Dr. Price. How do you pronounce it? Cheyenne.
Hey, how are you? Oh, you're next to me, huh?
I do not. You mean the one that we signed in the back? I don't have that. Who we got? We're missing this girl. We'll never find that. I'll call you in the morning. But I'm going straight to bed. You too? So we're going right now with the ethics statement. Adoption of the agenda. Hmm? Yep, I got that. Thank you. Yep. I think you keep that. Nope. No, thank you. Right. So what is the time? I had it. I wrote it out. Hold on, where did it go? Oh, no, I got it. I got it. Wait for Miss Goree, and you got enough? Thank you, Miss Williams. Okay. In following the agenda, I'm going to read the ethics statement. In accordance with Board Policy BH, it is the duty of every board member to avoid both conflicts of interest and the appearance of such conflicts. Does any board member have any known conflicts of interest or appearance of such conflict with respect to any matter scheduled to come before the board at this meeting or appearing on our proposed agenda? If so, please identify the conflict or appearance of conflict and refrain from participation in the matter involved. Is there any board member that has a conflict on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move forward. The next item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. We would like to make an amendment. I'd like to make a motion that we add an item to the business agenda for action this evening. I'm making a motion that we add the Clayton County Land Bank Authority's request for extinguishment of taxes. Do I have a second? Got you.
I second it.
And Ms. Gorey? Ms. Gorey, your vote is? Cool. Who am I missing? Jasmine, did you abstain? Huh? She's abstaining? Okay. So I have 7 votes and 1 abstention.
We need to add something else as well.
What is it? Go ahead.
All right, yes. Dr. Lee Buddy sent us, have you
I'm listening.
taken
Go
a
ahead.
vote?
That vote is over. We're adding that to the agenda. What's the additional item that you want?
The additional item is to add the naming of the Black Box Theater.
I don't think that we're involved in that naming of that, right? And Dr. Smith, could you speak on that?
Well, that's the reason that I'm
All right.
adding it, because Dr. Smith.
Let me hear your. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Vice Chairwoman, members of the board, I had a discussion with the former chairwoman, and we wanted to make certain that as we evaluated the policy, that we gave the board members an opportunity to vote on that. I'm not in disagreement with it or anything. It's just that we wanted the board to vote to give permission in order for us to name that Black Box Theater, as we shore up the policy.
Ms. Gorey, can you make that motion?
Well, that's what I was trying to do. The information was sent to the board, and as Dr. Smith wanted us to be.
What's your motion to adding that to the agenda?
The motion is to give MD Roberts permission to name the Black Box Theater after Dr. Jackson.
Okay, I second the motion. Can I get a vote?
You seconded?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm missing Miss. Okay. Ms. Hill,
I'm sorry, I need clarity. Are we voting to
We're
give MD
adding-
Roberts, or are we adding it to the agenda?
we're adding it to the agenda.
Thank you.
All right, it's unanimous. I got 8 votes. So it's added to the agenda. We'll speak about it during the business agenda. Please bear with me tonight. I guarantee you this will get a lot faster next month. Okay, the next item on the agenda is public participation. I need to read a statement before we move into public participation. The Clayton County Board of Education welcomes public participation and will hear any interested individuals pursuant to the guidelines outlined in policy BCBI. Members of the public will not be allowed to discuss individual personnel issues or confidential student matters. Speakers must identify themselves and topics before speaking. Speakers will be given 3 minutes to speak, and time may not be yielded from one speaker to another. Board members will not respond to comments from speakers. The chairman may respond as appropriate. Issues requiring possible action by the board may be added to future agendas. Issues that may need to be addressed by the administration will be duly noted. Abusive language or personal attacks will not be permitted. Individuals addressing the board must at all times adhere to the civility policy. The first person that I have is Dr. Nakia Price. Dr. Nakia Price. Yeah. Excuse me for a second. Ms. Gorey wants her chair. I need to switch up that chair. Ms. Gorey, are you comfortable now?
Yes. Yes, I've been sitting in this
Good
chair
deal.
for
Do I
6
have-
years. I want everything
Do I
that
have
belongs
Dr.
to me.
Nakia Price?
I came back
in the
home.
house? Dr. Nakia Price. One more time. Dr. Nakia Price. All right, I'm moving on to the next person. Cheyenne Jackson. Cheyenne Jackson. Good evening, Ms. Jackson.
Good evening. My name is Cheyenne Jackson. I am a Clayton County graduate, mother, and employee. What is abuse in the workplace? Do you know what it looks like?
As I'm in the midst
One
of
second,
applying
Ms.
for
Jackson.
residency right now, wish me luck. Grammarly has again been a
Ms. Jackson, I'm
lifesaver.
going to reset the clock and you can start all over, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, there goes the clock. Go ahead, Ms. Jackson.
Okay, as I
Start
said,
from the beginning.
my name is Cheyenne Jackson. I am a Clayton County native, a Clayton County Public School graduate, and a Clayton County Public School employee. Okay, what is abuse in the workplace? Do you know what it looks like? Have you ever felt it before? There are steps that needs to be taken once abuse happens in the workplace. Once that abuse happens, you should go to your principal, the person who you speak, the head person of the school. When you go to that person is to make decisions to ensure the smooth running of the educational environment. Okay, once that is done and once that is done and you go to the principal, you should go to equity and compliance to investigate the information, to ensure that people are treated fairly and equally and that laws and regulations are followed. Okay, once that happens and possibly you may not get an answer or you may not get any assistance, you go to your school superintendent. Your school superintendent is the head of the school district responsible for day-to-day operations. Okay, making sure that prioritizing every employee's well-being. Okay, discrimination also occurs within abuse in the workplace. Okay, such as pregnancy, race, religion, sex. With that being said, there is a such thing as abuse in the workplace. And if it's not acknowledged correctly or properly, we are putting our employees at risk with their safety and concerns, which makes it hard for the employee to work effectively and efficiently when they are feeling maybe scared or because they are being abused in the workplace. So things should be, I feel as an employee that things should really be looked at a little bit more in depth when it comes down to complaints of abuse in the workplace. I believe that principals, equity and compliance, the school superintendents should all actually really get more into depth of what the victim is claiming is happening. Because if not, this is how you lose employees who actually really want to work and who really want to make sure that Clayton County Public Schools is a great school system to be in instead of being abused by other participants.
Is that it, Ms. Jackson?
Yes, that is it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Gadsden? Ms. Gadsden? Is there a Ms. Gadsden here? Seeing none, that is the end of public participation. Next on the agenda is executive session recommendations. I want to hand the mic over to Dr. Smith so that you can give us the recommendation that you've presented.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Vice Chairman, members of the board, community, staff, I would like the board to consider for the position of principal at Lake Ridge Elementary School, Dr. Jarita Barrier.
I'm sorry. Can I get a motion for the superintendent's recommendation? Ms. Williams?
That's actually Ms. Gorey.
Okay, I see Miss Williams' light on.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation of Dr. Jarita Berrier as the principal of Lake Ridge Elementary School.
Miss Haney? Dr. Haney. Okay, we're fully executed in the motion. Can I get a vote, please? Okay, I'm missing one me. There we go. It's unanimous. Miss Barrier? Dr. Barrier. Is Dr. Barrier here?
Yes.
Can you please stand?
Congratulations, Dr. Barrier.
Dr. Barrier, I apologize for chopping up your name.
Thank you, board members. Ms. Barrier, stick around. The board would like to take a picture with you before you leave. Thank you, board members, for that. I would also like for the board to consider for assistant principal position at Eddie White Middle School Academy, Mr. Keith Evans.
Ms. Bowles, I need a motion for the recommendation of the superintendent. Ms. Bowles?
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for Mr. Evans to become the AP at Eddie White Middle.
Ms. Baker?
Second.
The motion has been fully executed. Can I get everyone's vote? It's unanimous. Mr. Evans, would you please stand?
Congratulations, sir. Those are all of my recommendations for tonight. Thank you, board members.
Good deal. Now, can we, I didn't hear you. What you say?
That's for
All right.
action. That happens in the action of the land bank. Okay.
Right. We got it. You want to,
Yeah,
a motion for the easement?
yeah, motion. I mean, Mr. Joseph has presented the information for easements. If it's the board's pleasure to approve it, please do so, I guess, at this time.
Ms. Baker, I need a motion for the superintendent's recommendation of the easement. Ms. Baker? Recommendation. Ms. Hill?
I second that motion.
The motion has been fully executed. Can I get everyone's vote? It's unanimous.
Thank you, board members. Also, I'd like the board to consider the employee hearing, tribunal number 2024-2025-04.
I need a motion for the tribunal. Ms. Baker?
I move that we accept the recommendation of the tribunal for the 2024-2025-04 tribunal.
Ms. Williams? The motion has been fully executed. Can I get everyone's vote? It is unanimous.
Thank you. That is all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much. We have announcements. Oh, you want to take the picture first? All right, let's take the picture. Can the two individuals that got appointed this evening step to the front of the boardroom? You think so? Huh? We're done.
Go ahead without her. She said she don't pull them off.
I know that's before. I know that's right. All right. Get out of here, get home.
Yes, sir.
Get together.
You got any authority about seating assignment?
Nope. Okay, we'll hit the announcements.
Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board, and Superintendent Smith. Madam Chair, I am D'Angela Gaston, a seventh grade student here at Jonesboro Middle School.
And I am Sabrina Hill, an eighth grade student here at Jonesboro Middle School. And I have the pleasure of sharing this month's board announcements. Jonesboro Middle School.
The district will observe the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on Monday, January 20th. All schools and offices will be closed on Monday. The district will return to its regular schedule Tuesday, January 21st.
The annual district-wide spelling bee will be held on Wednesday, January 22nd. The annual at the Performing Arts Center located in Jonesboro. January 22nd. Starting time will be at 9 a.m.
The district will conduct its winter graduation exercise Thursday, January 23rd at the Jonesboro High School Gymnasium. January is scheduled to begin at 6 p.m. Gymnasium.
The 2025 CCPS Helen Ruffin Reading Bowl will be held on Saturday, January 25th. Helen at Mundy's Mill High School. The reading bowl will begin at 9 a.m. At Mundy's, 45 teams representing students through grades 4 through 12 are expected to compete for top honors. Students through grades
The Clayton County Board of Education will conduct a work session on Monday, January 27th. The meeting, which will be held in the Boardroom of Administration Complex. The meeting, which is scheduled to begin at 6 p.m.
January 29th marks the first day of the Lunar New Year.
6 p.m. This is a reminder that January 31st will be a face-to-face learning day. This means that students will be in school. An updated 2024-2025 year calendar reflecting this change can be found on the website.
The month of February 2025 marks the first day of Black History Month, a time of recognition and reflection as we celebrate the contributions African Americans have made to the event. As we celebrate the contribution all people Americans have made, district-wide events and activities are being scheduled in observance of events.
A school choice fair will take place on Saturday, February 1st at the Professional Learning Center in Jonesboro beginning at 9 a.m. Application assistance will also be available.
The February board meeting will be held on Monday, February 3rd at 6 p.m. The meeting will be held in the boardroom of the district administration's complex.
Superintendent CEOs of schools, Dr. Anthony W. Smith, will host his second State of Schools address on Thursday, February 6th, at the Morrow Center.
The event is scheduled to begin at 6 p.m. It's open to staff, students, families, and community members. Madam Chair, that concludes tonight's announcements. Community members.
Madam Chair, that concludes.
Yeah. Okay, we have the approval of the minutes. There's no motion needed for this. We have the minutes for the board work session, November 18th, 2024. Are there any discussions or changes that any of my board members want for the board work session, November 18th minutes? Ms. Hill?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can we pull the H splash referendum?
Which is in the minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm out of order.
Yeah, when we get to the consent agenda. So there's no objections for the work session November 18th minutes. Am I correct? Fantastic. Next is the board meeting December 2nd, 2024 minutes. Is there any objections, discussions, issues with those minutes? Looking back and forth, I see none. We can move on to updates to the board.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have updates from Dr. Colbert and also Dr. Delphia Young at this time. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Vice Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, Dr. Smith, colleagues, and community at large. Tonight, I will present a brief College Career Readiness Performance Index data summary, better known as CCRPI. On this first initial slide, that's a live attachment that you could access to be able to see individual school data. For this presentation, I will focus only on district data as I move through the presentation. So I'll start with just what is CCRPI? CCRPI is Georgia's annual tool for measuring how well its schools, district, and state are preparing students for the next educational level. Also, there's a hyperlink there for you to access more information on CCRPI. So CCRPI is comprised of 5 different categories: content mastery, progress, readiness, closing the gaps, and graduation rate for high schools. Content mastery is measured in 4 areas: English language arts, mathematics, science, and social studies for middle and high schools. The next 2 slides gives a breakdown of how well schools perform in each subject area over the last 4 years. I will not go over this slide, rather, I will go to the next slide, which gives a breakdown of how well we perform school by school. In content mastery, 30 out of 39 of elementary schools showed improvement in content mastery. The state had a score of 67.8. Clayton County Public Schools had a score of 43.3. However, we did outpace the state in improvement. The state improved by 3.1 points, and Clayton County Public Schools improved by 4.3 points, with Fountain Elementary and Unidos Dual Language Academy showing the most improvement in elementary schools. Fountain Elementary had an 8.2 point increase. Unidos had a 10.2 increase. In middle school category, 15 out of 16 schools showed improvement in content mastery. The state had a score of 64. Clayton County Public Schools had a score of 43.5. Again, we outpaced the state in improvement as 3.1 compared to 4.4 for middle schools. Adamson Middle School and Babb Middle School led the way with the increase in improvement. In the high school category, we had 9 out of 14 high schools to show improvement in content mastery. The state had a score of 68 and 1/10. Clayton County Public School had a score of 45 and 8/10. Again, we outpaced the state with improvement. The state improved at a rate of 3.1. Clayton County Public Schools improved at a rate of 3.7, with North Clayton High School and Lovejoy High School leading the way in improvement with 8.7 points and 7.3 points respectively. The next area, as I noted earlier, was progress, which measures how much growth students demonstrate from one school year to the next school year. Progress is weighted based on levels of growth in English language arts, mathematics, and progress towards English language proficiency for our EL students. The next slide, again, gives you a 4-year trend data analysis for each subject area. Again, I will go to the summary slide, where I will point out that 10 out of 39 elementary schools showed improvement in progress. The state had a score of 86.2. Clayton County Public Schools had a score of 83.3, which showed a decrease by 5.9 points over the previous year's progress score, with Anderson Elementary leading the way with a 42.8 point increase, and Fountain Elementary showing a 17.2 point increase. Middle schools, again, we outpaced the state. The state has a score of 82.3, and Clayton County Public Schools have a score of 86 with a 1.2 increase. 9 out of our 16 middle schools showed improvement in the area of progress, with elite scholars having a perfect score of 100. Adamson Middle School and Kendrick Middle School led the way in the middle school category with an increase of 11.6 and 11.5 respectively. High school progress, again, we outpaced the state in this category. Clayton County Public Schools progress score was 84 and 1/10, and the state progress score is at 82 and 7/10, showing that we outpaced the state as well with a 7.1 point improvement. 11 out of our 14 high schools showed improvement in the area of progress, with Mount Zion, Forest Park, Jonesboro, and Utopian School of the Arts all showing marked improvement, with Mount Zion leading the way at 22.5, Forest Park at 19.3, and Jonesboro at 11.6. The next area is closing the gaps. Closing the gap sets the expectation that all students and student groups make annual improvements in achievement rates or maintain high levels of achievement in the subject areas of English language arts. And for this year, math did not count in closing the gap because we implemented new standards, science, social studies for middle schools and high schools. Again, this slide just shows a 4-year trend analysis. I will go into the summary slides. Elementary schools closing the gap. We show 13 out of 39 elementary schools showing improvement in closing the gap. However, Clayton County Public School has a closing the gap score of 92 and 1/10, which shows a decrease of 4 and 5/10, and the state had a 100-point score and showed an increase of 33 and 3/10 in the area of closing the gaps, with Anderson Elementary and Hawthorne Elementary showing the greatest improvement. Hawthorne at 41 and 2/10, and Anderson Elementary at 38 and 2/10. Middle schools, 7 out of our 16 middle schools showed improvement in closing the gaps. Again, our score is outpacing the state. Clayton County Public Schools have a score of 87 and 5/10, which indicates an increase of 5.9 points over the previous year. And the state has a middle schools closing the gap score of 68 and 3 points. Again, Jonesboro Middle School led the way with an increase of 34 and 6 points, followed by Babb Middle School with the increase of 26.7 points. High schools, the state had a score of 81.7. Clayton County Public School had a score of 68.5. We did decrease in that area by 3.7 percentage points, which shows 5 out of 14 high schools showed improvement in closing the gaps, with Lovejoy High School and North Clayton High School leading the way. North Clayton High School had a 38.7 point improvement, and Lovejoy had a 34.1 point improvement. The next area is readiness, which measures whether students are participating in activities preparing them for and demonstrating readiness for the next level. And it measured in the areas of at or above grade level reading, middle, elementary, and high school, attendance, beyond the core for elementary and middle schools, accelerated enrollment for high schools, pathway completion for high schools, and college and career readiness for high schools. Again, the next slide, this shows that 4-year trend data. The summary for readiness, elementary school readiness, 28 out of 39 elementary schools showed improvement in the area of readiness. Clayton County Public School has a score of 75, and the state has a score of 83 and 2/10. We did outpace the state in improvement at a rate of 1.3. Fountain Elementary School and Harper Elementary School led the way with an increase of 6.1 and 3.9 respectively. Middle school readiness, the state had a score of 82 and 8/10. Clayton County Public Schools had a readiness score of 75 and 7/10, with 13 out of our 16 middle schools showing improvement in the area of readiness. Eddie White and Riverdale Middle School showed the most improvement in the area of middle schools. Eddie White at 6 and 9/10 and Riverdale Middle School at 4 and 4/10. In high school, the state had a readiness score of 73 and 3/10. Clayton County Public School had a readiness score of 65 and 6/10. We did outpace the state improvement with an improvement rate of 2.4. 9 out of our 14 high schools did show improvement in the area of readiness, with Charles Drew and Forest Park High School leading the way with improvements of 5.7 and 5.5 respectively. The next area, which is only for high school, we've presented this data when the high school graduation data were released, but the next CCRPI measure for high school is a graduation rate, which measures the number of graduates who graduate at a high school in 4 to 5 years. So in the area of graduation rate, 10 of 12 high schools showed improvement in graduation rate. We had a graduation rate of 83 and 1/10 compared to the state's graduation rate of 85 and 7/10. We did outpace the state in improvement with an improvement rate of 1 and 8/10. Elite Scholars in Stillwell had a perfect score in the area of graduation rate with a 100. Mount Zion and Imperial Career Academy had the most improvement in the area of graduation rate, with Mount Zion High School improving at a rate of 11.1 points and the Imperial Career Academy improving at 6.8 points. As we continue to analyze the data, we will request that we're able to set up 3-on-3 meetings with board members to be able to go into a deep dive or deep analysis of the data. I know that there are many questions concerning the data. How's the data factored? What is the algorithm for the data? I know that we have attachments, but we feel that the best way for us to do this in small groups, to sit down and really have work sessions where we explain to board members, this is how this score was configured. But I'll pause at this point to be able to take any questions if you have them.
Thank you, Dr. Colbert. You're making me laugh here. First of all, you said exactly what I want. I need the 3-on-3 meetings. I need that to happen really fast because I want that happening before we get a deep dive into the strategic planning. Because I believe that understanding this for my board members is going to allow us to truly hone in on what's important when we're doing this strategic planning. I also want to say that you're not fooling me when we talk about these increases. That was really good. That was good math on your part, because you're saying that we're outpacing the state, but they're already there. So what does it matter if we're outpacing them? Those percentages mean nothing to me. But it was a good attempt on your part to.
I wouldn't say it meant anything. It indicates
I
growth.
I applaud all of the
It
increases.
indicates growth.
People, I applaud increases. Increases are great, but let's not try to make it seem like we're there. We're not there yet. There's a lot of gap to cover, and I want everybody in here to put up their hand and say, look, we acknowledge the fact that we're not at state level, and until we get to state level, there is no bracket. We're going to get to state level. That's the goal of this, I believe, of all my board members that's up here. So increases are fantastic when we're giving presentations, but state status is where I need to go. All right. The other thing was, I think that was it for my points. I got Ms. Hill. You're up next.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mr. Colbert, for the presentation. I too have some questions as it pertains to how we presented this presentation today. Again, improvement is great, but how does this equate to the proficiency levels for our scholars? And though we went over the highlights, when I look at the readiness, I do see that I'll just go to CCPS readiness performance beyond the core. There was a decrease, not significant, but because we're not in a positive, any decreases seen. And that was just consistent throughout the data with the closing the gap performance. So I just want to know, how do this equate to proficiency reading on grade level and above?
Right. Great question. It all starts with content mastery.
Mm-hmm.
Everything starts with the very first piece of data that I shared with you, which was content mastery. Our students' performance on the English language arts assessment, math assessment, science assessment, social studies assessment feeds everything else inside of the CCRPI calculation. So if we're going to improve and close the gaps, we have to accelerate our improvement in the area of content mastery. That's how we close the gaps. Now, to your point, Mr. Chair, about the improvement rates, we recognize that 1%, 2% improvement would not accelerate that gap closure between us and the state. We are working very diligently with our schools to put practices and supports in place to accelerate our growth. If the state grow at 1%, we almost have to grow at 8% to be able to get back on track with the state. So we recognize that. But to answer your question, Ms. Hill, we, in the area of proficiency in that first category is important. The work is to improve instruction, to improve teaching and learning so that our students can score on grade level or higher.
Thank you for that answer, Dr. Colbert. So with that being said, and making sure that they're able to complete the mastery content area, and that comes with instruction, how are we designing the instruction? And is it uniform? Well, I don't want to use the word uniform. Is it district-wide as to how that is presented? And I'll give you an example. A parent on my advisory committee, he states that he has children in 2 different schools. Mm-hmm. Each time he goes to the schools, it's vastly different in how their children are being taught, the information that is being shared. And so it makes it difficult for him to keep up or even maintain. Mm-hmm. So I just want to know, what advice could we give to our families when they have children at different schools and the instruction is very different?
Right. Well, we put 2 things in place to be able to help with that. We have district-wide lesson plans, which we are working to increase the usage of the district lesson plans. And secondly, we've moved to virtual collaborative planning. For example, for middle schools or for secondary schools, we have, for example, all 6th grade teachers that teach math will go on planning at a set time so that we can control planning throughout the district. We recognize in order for some things we need to be more uniform with. Collaborative planning is a key piece to our improvement. If we want to have, precise lessons, we got to plan for precise lessons. So we realize that that's continuous work. That is continuous work. The work is continuous with teaching and learning. So we recognize that. We recognize we had a meeting last week as we came back from the break to kind of ask ourselves what's working well, what's not working well. So we go through a root cause analysis process to see those things that are yielding high results and look at those things that are not yielding the results. But the most important thing that we have to recognize is when you see improvement, we want schools to understand that why you're getting those improvements, as well as why you're not getting improvements. Because the things that are yielding improvements, we want to be able to replicate those things. Those things that are not yielding improvement, want to go back and fix those things that they can start yielding those improvement rates that we're looking for.
Thank you so much. And at the end and in conclusion, just help us to help you. Whatever it is that we as a board collectively can work alongside of you guys to make sure that our scholars are winning, just please share it with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Bowles.
Good evening, Dr. Colbert. I look forward to the 3-on-3s because that's going to be the best place to learn a lot. I think my questions are about terms. When you first started your presentation, you had a series of comparative charts. And what makes them different, I think, but correct me if I'm wrong, was the first one was a chart about content mastery.
Yes.
The second was progress. And the third was closing the gap. My question to you is, what is the difference between those terms?
Okay.
Content mastery, is that a synonym for proficient? Proficient and above, is that the same scholars who are mastered, or mastered is above proficient? Is that correct?
Content mastery measures how well our students are performing on the state summative assessment. And you have 4 levels that they will score in: beginning, developing, proficient, and distinguished.
Right.
That starts the CCRPI calculation.
So my question is, if that was a chart that analyzes content mastery, did any of those charts have percent of students proficient and above? No. Okay, thank you. And then my second question, your chart was about progress. Based on the way you've been using it, could you please define what you meant by progress, or the chart, or the test? What is progress? And I recognize we'll do the deep dive in the 3-on-3, but is it 5 points or more growth? What is progress in your chart?
Progress measures student growth from year to year.
Thank you. And then
it measures that growth as compared to academically similar peers.
Okay.
Dr. Henderson and I score a 78.
Okay.
So we will be put in a group to see how well all the students in the state who scored a 78, how did we compare on the next year compared to those students that scored in that range.
Okay. So then what is closing the gap?
Closing the gap are subgroup targets.
Okay.
Special education students, English language learner students, Black students, white students, Asian students.
Okay.
The state set baseline targets with the 2023 data. We got improvement targets by each individual subgroup.
Thank you. And we can do a lot more in those 3-on-3s, but that was helpful. But what we don't have yet is proficient and above, right? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Dr. Gorey?
Thank you, Dr. Colbert, for the information. Mr. Chair, what I would like to know is a lot of this information that is being shared, we probably would love to see it at individual schools. I know that Dr. Young had talked about purchasing a dashboard. Is this information, is it up and operational yet so that we? Right, because I think it would help us as well if we can, do we have a timeline as to when we might have that operational? A year? Yeah, I thought we were they would get that expeditiously since we said we were getting it from Henry County. Okay, well, all right. Well, I think with the questioning that I hear, because I think that the board members don't exactly know each of the areas. That's why we do need the 3-on-3 meetings. And of course, it helps with, I'm assuming that all of our schools have a plan of action to try and improve.
Yes.
Yes, because we would like to have some improvement, but I am proud of the improvement that we have made and looking forward to those 3-on-3 meetings.
Good deal, Dr. Colbert. Obviously, you can see the importance of the 3-on-3 meetings, and in those 3-on-3 meetings, I think you have two goals. Number one, simplifying the statistics, making all of us understand what you're looking at and your rationale behind the interpretation of those numbers. Secondly, it's very important that we get this right for all 9 of us because it will get us focused on that strategic plan. And that strategic plan is extremely important to me because I think all of my board members seen Dr. Smith build a empire in Clayton County. Now it's time to put smart students inside of those empires. And I think that that's where our focus and priority is about to go. You know, speaking for myself and hoping that the other 8 members see that same thing. So I really want you to take it serious that the education and the simplification of understanding these numbers and then putting context to it so that when we get together, we're seriously thinking about where the allocations of our budgets and policies should go. So this is a very serious task.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wait, I got Miss Baker is not Miss Baker, right? That's okay. I got Dr. Haney.
Dr. Colbert, again, thank you for the presentation. Also, in the last academic committee meeting, thank you for the transparency that you've demonstrated tonight for citizens to hear what's going on in the backdrop. I echo Mr. Chair, and we all know that it's a serious matter when it comes to these academics, but I think it's very important that we show the public that, hey, we're open and transparent by letting you know the ups, downs, the hiccups, then we do have a ways to go. I acknowledge that, but I want them to know that as well so that we can at least reduce the chatter as if we're concealing, like we're holding something back when in essence we're not. And so this will give us a reflection, but and I'm just going to put out the community, we need your help too to be able to educate our children as well, to get to those buildings that we're building to have those smart students, which we already have smart students. They just need a push to get going in the right direction. So again, thank you for that. Continue to give us the communications as what Ms. Hill stated, and then we as a team can work with your team.
Thank you.
Ms. Cooper.
Dr. Colbert, thank you for the presentation tonight. My only suggestion, I look forward to the 3-on-3s, but could you please send us the presentation again? The links are not active.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Dr. Colbert, I think that's it. Great job, sir.
Thank you, sir. On to the consent agenda.
Okay. All right. So we're up to the consent agenda. Being that this is a work session and a board meeting, I think you guys are going to come up, give us a report on the things that are on the consent agenda. And then at that point, we'll vote on the consent agenda minus whatever any of the board members want to pull. We'll vote on it as a whole. So first, I got the financial report.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair. I gotta get this right because it used to be the opposite. Congratulations. Members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Smith, colleagues, and community. This evening, I'll be presenting our financial report as of November 30th of 2024. So for the general fund budget, we have a total budget of revenue of $707,468,341. Of that, we've collected $158,718,399, which is 22.4% of our budget. And on the expenditure side, year to date, we've spent
Can you get closer to the mic, please?
Is this better? Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay. We spent $216,774,064, which is 30.6% of our budget. And we have an end of fund balance at that time of $138 million. We have not collected all of our property taxes. As it's not reflected on this. We get most of our taxes in November and December. In December, we received $131.7 million that was collected in November. So you will see that reflected on the next report on the 27th when we have our work session and I do our financial report. Any questions on this report? You also had in your packet some budget amendments. If you'll recall, earlier in the year, we talked about some of our findings that we've had on our previous audits were around not doing budget amendments. And I don't know, because they're not on here. They were included in your packet, but I do need to go through these so you can approve these as well. So the first one is an amendment to accept the donation from Central Georgia Electric Membership Corporation in the amount of $6,300. This donation will be utilized to assist with furthering the superintendent's initiatives. This budget amendment will increase the 2025 general fund budget by $6,300. The next one is an amendment to amend the budget for the pre-K grant in the amount of $420,000. The Georgia Department of Early Care and Learning provided funding to 28 classes to refurbish classrooms. This budget amendment will increase the FY 2025 budget for pre-K grants, Fund 5600, by $420,000. The next amendment is to accept the donation from Heart to Nourish Hope for the STEM department in the amount of $3,000. This donation will be utilized for competitions, programs, and the annual STEM Teacher Leadership Conference. This amendment will increase the 2025 general fund budget by $3,000. The next amendment is to establish the 2025 budget for the Georgia Power Grant received from the Georgia Public Foundation in the amount of $727,500. CCPS will continue to use funding to improve career readiness and workforce opportunities, focus on improving access to early education, expand its work-based learning program, and create soft skills academy for students. This budget amendment will increase the 2025 budget for general fund grants, Fund 1200, by $727,500. The next amendment is to appropriate carryover budget for the United Way grant in the amount of $67,715.12. The United Way grant provides funding to support the summer literacy program as well as Kinder Camp Life Path for pre-K. This budget amendment will increase the FY 2025 budget for general fund grants, Fund 1200, by $67,715.12. The next amendment is to appropriate carryover funds from the FY 2024 in the amount of $48,855.11 and recognize revenue for FY 2025 in the amount of $30,263 for the Community and Employee Engagement Department for a total of $79,118.11. This budget amendment will increase the FY 2025 budget for the Trust and Agency Funds, which is Fund 7001, by $79,118.11. And the last amendment is to accept the donation from Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated for the Homeless Education Department in the amount of $3,500. This donation will be utilized to support the Chelsea Fierce Scholarship Program. This amendment will increase the FY 2025 Trust and Agency Fund, Fund 7001, budget by $3,500. So those are all of the amendments that we have that were included in your.
Fantastic. Is there any questions for Ms. Bivens? Ms. Cooper?
Hey, Ms. Bivens. Is this all of the grants that we have thus far? Because I know we had spoken before, and I think it was maybe another. Is this all that you have?
This is all that
at
we
this
have as
point?
of now. We will have more as we get the award letters in.
Okay.
We will bring them before the board as we get those.
Okay.
Okay.
Ms. Williams, you got anything?
So all the grants that's added, gonna be added to the individual person's budget or just to the general fund?
Some of them will be the general fund, some are to the general fund grants, which I believe was Fund 1200. And then we have some for the trust and agency funds, which was Fund 7001. And then one was for the pre-K grant, which I believe is in Fund 1200 as well.
The one for the Georgia Power is doing where?
Hold on, let me go back and look.
CTAE one?
The Georgia Power Grant, hold on.
That's the one that helped with the program that Dr. Smith wanted.
Georgia
Georgia
Power.
Power.
The
No,
Georgia
the
Power
grant.
Grant is a general fund grant. It's Fund 1200.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Hill?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Ms. Bivens. Now, this is not in relationship to the presentation and information you just shared, but I wanted to know, can you give us a status update on our audit for 2023 and where we are for 2024?
Yes, ma'am, not a problem. We just spoke with the auditor last week when we came back from the break.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
We spoke with the auditor last week when we came back from the break, and she will have the audit 2023 audit to us by the end of this month, and then she'll roll right into the 2024.
And when we have 2024 done, approximately at what time? Because it should have been done December 31st.
Yes, it should have, but because we were behind and still trying to catch up from all the previous audits, she has been working on those. And again, she had to do some by herself because, as with last time, they have their staff allocated to other districts, cities, and counties. But she's back. She has her staff back to help her with the 2024. She's finishing up the 2023 herself. So it should not take as long for 2024 because she will have assistance in doing that audit. And on top of that, my staff already has done some preliminary work that I asked them to do to have everything ready to go. So she's not having to ask for things as they did last time.
Okay. Will you just keep us informed
Yes,
as the
ma'am.
status? Thank you.
I will. You're welcome.
Fantastic, Ms. Bivens. Thank you so much. I now have the Splash Revenue Report.
Thank you. I went too far. There we go. So for the month of November, the revenue that we received was for October. And if you recall, we began our new SPLOST in October. So this is our first revenue for SPLOST 7. And we received $5,872,919, which is a little more than what we received from the prior year. So we're still trending up on SPLOST collections. And I answer any questions if you have.
Are there any questions in regards to the Splash Revenue Report? Seeing none, we'll move to the Purchasing Report.
Thank you. All right, so for the SPLOST purchasing report, per board policy, the purchase of any non-consumable items with a value of $100,000 or more, and the purchase of a group of non-consumable items from a single vendor or individual or sequential purchase orders with a total value of $100,000 or more shall be approved by the Board of Education prior to purchase and/or prior to the execution of any agreement to purchase. The policy also requires that at the regular monthly Board of Education meeting, the superintendent or designee will provide a report of all purchases greater than $10,000, which were approved during the prior month and not previously approved by the board. So we have included in your executive summary that was provided with you, along with supporting documentation, a detailed account of all purchases and contracts with a value exceeding $100,000 that require board approval. Also attached were spreadsheet reports for Report A, which was consumable purchases made with a value of $10,000 or more. Report B, non-consumable purchases made with a value of $10,000 or more, but less than $100,000. And Report C are the non-consumable items with a value of $100,000 or more that require board approval as detailed in the executive summary. I'll be happy to answer any questions or have staff to come up to answer.
Okay, is there any questions in regards to the Purchasing Report? Ms. Baker.
This is probably going to be a Mr. Joseph question, but we have down carpet for the boardroom, and I'm just kind of wondering why we're doing that separate than all at once.
So I did ask staff that question, and that's actually for Central Office South and not the boardroom.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions in regards to the purchase report? I'm looking up, I'm looking down, I see no lights on. Let's move to the Splash Construction Report.
That's Mr. Joseph. Thank
And
you.
before we move to the Splash report, I just want to acknowledge in the audience the Forest Park City Manager, Ricky Clark. What was that? Oh, is the mayor in here? Oh, I apologize. And we have the mayor of Forest Park. I didn't see you. I apologize. All right, let's move along.
Good evening once again, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Smith. You have received the SPLOST construction report, the capital purchasing report, the North Clayton High School GMP, the RFQ for professional design services, the SPLOST 8 referendum language, as well as the intergovernmental agreement for election services. Pertaining to the SPLOST referendum, Clayton County Public Schools will call for a special election on March 18th, 2025 to reimpose a 1% sales and use tax for educational purposes at a maximum cost of $495 million. Additionally, issuance of a general obligation bond in the aggregate amount of $495 million at an interest rate not to exceed 6%. Again, the continuation of the existing tax will fund items such as textbooks, band uniforms, athletic equipment, technology, transportation, and facility upgrades. Are there any questions about the report submitted?
Ms. Hill?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Joseph. I have two, can you tell me about the professional design? What is that for, the district-wide? Is it for individual buildings? Tell me more.
Yes, ma'am. That is a solicitation that we do every 5 years, and it's for architects and engineers. So what we do is we create a pool of architects that sorry about that. Yes, it's just a solicitation for architect services. These are the firms that will design the capital projects going forward. And so what we do is, in order to accelerate the process, we pre-approve their qualifications, and then we assign them to the projects.
Okay, so this is merely asking us to accept the names that was vetted and suggested that we move going forward.
Correct. This will be the new pool of architects providing services for capital projects going forward.
Okay, thank you.
Good dear. Is there any other questions? Dr. Gorey?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Joseph, I'm thankful that you're moving in that direction for design. I just wanted to compliment you on that.
I got a, Ms. Williams, is that you or did I hit that button? I hit it? Yeah, but you could, yeah, I would love for you to ask a question. You got
Thank
it?
you. Thank you.
Yeah, ask Mr. Joseph as many questions as you can. How are we looking with Forest Park's middle school?
We're looking great. If you drive by, you see that the structure is up. We're in the dry-in phase. So we'll begin interior finishes probably in February, on target for a school opening of August of 2025. So we're excited about it as another jewel for our community.
Fantastic, Mr. Joseph. Do you have the capital purchasing report? Did you do that already?
Yes, I just listed all.
You listed all, okay. And then we got North Clayton High School. You did that. Fantastic. And then we got a request for number 25. You did that. And Ms. Hill, I think you wanted us to pull the SPLOST 8 referendum.
Yes.
Okay, so
Mr.
we'll
Chair,
pull that.
and just vote on it separately, please.
You got it. And lastly, the IGA election services. Did you do that also?
I did. So.
Man, I needed to be paying attention.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I had stepped out when you were pulling the referendum for a separate vote, or are you just trying to pull it from the agenda?
No, we're pulling it for a separate vote.
For a separate vote?
For a separate
Okay.
vote, right.
Because if we're gonna hold up that vote, that will mess up.
Yeah, no, it's a separate vote. Miss Albritton, I think you're up.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. I'll make sure that Miss Williams got many more questions for you the next time.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, other members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Smith, colleagues, and community members. The Personnel Changes Report summarizes all personnel actions for the period of November 2nd through December 13th, 2024. Human Resources updates were submitted to the Board of Education for your review. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Miss Albritton? Ms. Cooper, any? No? Looking down there, Ms. Bowles, you have anything? Ms. Holbert, you did a great job. They don't need you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay. I need a motion for the consent agenda, which in, we're going to do land bank and the business. Okay. Right. Okay. So I need a motion for the consent agenda, for a vote on the consent agenda, which includes the financial report, the SPLOSH revenue report, the purchasing report, the SPLOSH construction report, capital purchasing report, North Clayton High School, the request for number 25-1, professional design services, IGA election services, and the personnel change report. The SPLOSH 8 will be separated from the consent agenda and voted on separately. Ms. Goree,
So moved, Mr. Chair.
do I have a second? Ms. Cooper?
Second.
Okay, the motion has been properly executed. Now I need everyone's vote. Okay, all lights are on. It's unanimous. The consent agenda passes minus the SPLOSH 8 referendum. On the SPLOSH referendum.
I had some questions pertaining to the bonds and the cost.
To Dr. Smith so that
House Bill 5 things that doesn't impact the property owners, as
For the continuation of the penny sales tax. It will be for bond
Further explanation.
okay, can I get Ms. Baker? Oh, that wasn't you. Okay. Joy, go ahead. I apologize for these lights.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say, can we get that explanation so we are completely clear? Because it sounds like you're saying we're mixing House Bill 581 with the referendum. So can we get him to come up and kind of explain to us a little bit more?
Sure. And I think the confusion is because when we had the 3-on-3s, we discussed both. But we discussed HB 581 with you while we had your attention. So we wouldn't have to schedule a second meeting. That's why we did it at the end of those meetings.
Good evening, board members. House Bill 581 is a floating homestead exemption tied to inflation that goes to your maintenance and operations tax digest. So it only affects your general fund, the money you collect to pay teachers and to educate kids. This SPLOST is a sales tax and not a property tax, so 581 does not affect it at all.
Ms. Williams?
For 25 years?
So the SPLOST is 5 years or till it collects 495 million, and the bond issue is for 25 years.
Okay, it's block 5 bond.
Right, so you'd renew the SPLOST each time for 5 times.
Dr. Gorey?
Actually, I was asking for a point of information because it seems to me we should have had a motion and had discussion. Seems like, but I'm asking.
Board members, are you
Mr.
satisfied with the discussion we just had?
It's-
Yes?
it's-
Okay, let's now
it's-
get a motion
no,
on the floor.
I'm just saying, should we have done a motion or which way?
Madam Chair, we've done it both ways. It's appropriate to just have conversation on the
Okay.
item, and then do the motion and the second at the end.
Now that we've discussed the agenda item, can I get a motion for the Splash 8 referendum? Ms. Baker? Can I get a second? Eight referendum. Ms. Hill, do you have a question?
No, I'm abstaining.
Okay, you abstaining. Ms. Bowles, did you have a question? Okay. Did you put your vote in? You're abstaining? Okay, so I have 2 abstentions and 3, 4, 5 yeses, approvals. Do you want to make a statement on your abstention? What was that? 3 abstentions, okay. 3 abstentions and 5 approvals. Is there anybody that wants to make a statement on their vote? Go ahead.
Really briefly, I'm excited about our district using creative financing options, but my challenge with, I enjoyed when Mr. Ed just got up and explained his answer and said that they were not only separate, but in those 3-on-3 meetings, we do know that there's a connection. We're using some of this SPLOST decision is connected to the 25-year bond. And that is where I struggle.
All right, the vote is in. We have 5 approvals and 3 abstentions. Ms. Battles, you have that? Thank you very much. We can now move on to the board matters. Okay, we have policy series F, K, and L, and there is no changes to those. But I would caution my board members to make sure that you take a look at those policies. And I would specifically say, make sure that you pay attention to policy F, which is the naming rights of facilities. So when we get back here for the next work session, we need to have a fruitful discussion prior to that on any changes, any recommendations, or any comments that you want with that. That's going to happen at the next work session. So please get that information over to us so we can start the discussion on whether we want to make any changes to that policy. Ms. Cooper, did you have a question?
No, I was just going to say that I do have some changes for F.
Okay.
So I will be submitting those. But I did just want to say really quickly, Happy New Year to everyone. I don't know if we started out with that, and especially my District 8. So yes.
Ms. Bowles, do you have a comment?
I do.
Okay, go for it.
I wanted to take an opportunity for a point of privilege. I recognize that this is the policy section of our agenda, but I want to remind our board and the community that legislative session began today downtown at the Capitol. And this is the first of the 49 consecutive days where our state handles the business of our community, including our children. That's where the funding formula sits. There was recently a Senate study committee on the funding formula. And so I will be happy to update us on the happenings throughout session, but some of the things I think you should all look out for are a few topics like school safety, teacher retention and recruitment, AI in the schools, charter authorizations, which is also the voucher bill for privatized schools is also going to be expanded and cleaned up this year. So look out for that. In addition to cultural issues such as African American studies and AP classes and cultural studies, multi-ethnic studies in high schools and whatnot. So today is day one of what will be a lively 40 non-consecutive days, and I look forward to keeping you all updated. Thank you.
Thanks for that update, Ms. Bowles. Dr. Gurry?
Mr. Chair, yes, I would definitely like Ms. Bowles to do the update for us, but I would also say that at this time, I don't know that we've had any legislative priorities. We need to, I know Dr. Smith was trying to have a meeting with the delegation. We didn't have any bills necessarily that we needed to pass, other than, of course, it would be nice if we could go back and get something in writing or get a bill for our maintenance department so everybody could be on TRS. I know we're trying to fund it ourselves, but we need, as a board, some legislative priorities.
Gotcha. Ms. Bowles, did you hear that? All right, you got a job. Right, that's correct, but you're going to start us off. The business agenda. This was the land bank, the land bank that we added to the agenda. So if Ms. Garrett would come up and give us an idea of what the ask is for this, then after we will do a motion and make a vote. The floor is yours.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, Superintendent
Come
Smith.
closer to the mic.
Yes, can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Superintendent Smith, members of the cabinet, administration, and the community at large. This evening, I present to you the executive summary for the request for the extinguishment of taxes from the Clayton County Land Bank Authority. In front of you, you have received information that gives general background on the Clayton County Land Bank Authority, as well as its purpose, and also the specifics of the request for the extinguishment relative to property located within the city of Forest Park, as well as their intended use. It is important to note that the intended use is to create affordable housing and economic development, in particular for teachers and public servants of the county. And this is specific to our partnership with the City of Forest Park as they assist us in attracting and retaining teachers and public servants. This evening, the request is that the Clayton County Board of Education approve the request for the tax extinguishment based on the information provided, and I stand before you available to answer any questions.
Fantastic. Couple of questions. So this property that is abandoned in Forest Park will be taken over by Forest Park and redeveloped and made affordable apartments for teachers and public service workers, correct?
Yes, that is the purpose. Yes.
Okay, and they're asking us to waive the taxes on the initial sale. And then once it's up and going, property taxes will kick in thereafter.
Yes, and I'd also like to share that the Board of Education's policy relative to land bank review is that we look at what's the overall purpose and the benefit to the public. And so with that being said, we will bring that property over a course of time back to being tax generating. But in addition, it also supports the county's expectations for individuals to begin to live, eat, play, as well as work within the county.
Good deal. Ms. Williams? I'm looking, are you sitting there, Ms. Haney? Okay, let me sort this out. Ms. Williams, did you have your light on? It was on, but you don't have a comment now. Okay, so let's let you make your comment, and then Ms. Goree, you will be after Ms. Williams. Go ahead and make your comment, Ms. Williams.
I move that we approve.
Okay, you want to make a motion?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Goree, make your comment.
Have a comment. My light was on first, which was to move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation to extinguish the taxes.
Okay,
That's
we're
what
not
we're
ready for the
trying to
motion just yet.
Well,
First, I want to finish getting all the comments, and then we will make that motion and do the vote. Ms. Hill, go ahead.
I don't have a comment. I was gonna motion it as well.
Okay, so everybody wants to make a motion. Nobody has a discussion. Fantastic. I should see no
make
emails
the
tomorrow.
motion and then have discussion. That is Robert's rules.
Okay, so Ms. Goree, I'm gathering you're making the motion. And Ms. Williams, you're making the second for it?
Yes.
Okay, it has been properly executed. I need the votes of all my board members now. The vote is unanimous. Congratulations, Mayor and City Manager. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
evening.
Okay, the last thing on the business agenda is going to be the black box for K-Pace. Is that elementary? K-Pace Elementary. Ms. Baker, I'm sure you want to make that motion.
I would like to make the motion that we allow the black box at K-Pace Elementary School to be named after Dr. Jackson.
Dr. Donna Jackson. Do I have a second? I'm looking at Ms. Williams.
You never turned her light off.
All right,
it's
Ms.
me.
Goree.
I'm a
Once
second.
again, I apologize, everybody. These lights are screwed up because we moved chairs. Please don't use that against me for tonight.
I second the motion.
You second the motion. The motion has been properly executed. Board members, can I get your vote? Looks unanimous to me. Madam Vice Chair, do we have anything else?
We need to add the leases to next.
We'll do that on the next agenda. Seeing nothing else, this meeting is adjourned. Hey, people, thank you for your patience with me. Have a good night. Get home.